Drake, as our new guest here for this segment, who do you think is the best running back 2-0 in the Big 12 this season?
Oh, funny you ask me, Philip, because I took notes and I have two running backs. You've mentioned neither of these names, and I think they create the most dynamic running back room in the league, and they belong to the West Virginia Mountaineers. We go to Morgantown, West Virginia, where we say hello to the Big 12 leader last season with 7.7 yards per carry, ninth in rushing yards, while finding pay dirt on the ground 4 times. He is Jaheim White. And guess who's back there with him? C.J. Donaldson. So if you're like, hey, this guy's fast, I'm not really into fast running backs. Well, wait a second. This guy's powerful. I'm into powerful running backs. I love what West Virginia is going to give us this season. I think that they are in a really good spot to shock people from a running back standpoint with a couple of, like, C.J. Donaldson's 20 years old. And I love him. I love him. He was one of my favorite guys, most unsung guys in the Big 12 last season. And I think this year he's going to be a star. Jaheim White's a star. You want one guy to be fast. You want one guy to be the big, bulky, burly guy. You've got it. And West Virginia's got the best running back duo in the conference to me. They're going to be, how you say, good at running the football with a guy like Jaheim White, who was damn good, and C.J. Donaldson, who had double-digit touchdowns.
Yeah. All right. Let's move to, this is the one that brought about because of the Wide Out Night Light Discord conversation. Best wide receiver tight end trio. So this is the caveat of trio. And it is interesting to look at and say, like, hey, guys, like, we're talking about 3 players. Like, you could pick a duo and say, like, okay, we can have debate. Finding a situation when you have 2 really good wide receivers and a really good tight end, or something we don't really see outside of the NFL, like 2 really good tight ends and a wide receiver, like that's basically like Iowa. Not that you ever know because they can't pass the ball for squat. It is an interesting conversation to have of, like, who's that you're talking about now, like, who's got the best receiving core, because you have to include tight end in this conversation.
Right. For me, give me 3 guys that I think could combine for 2,500 receiving yards this season, and they come from the Iowa State Cyclones. When you combine and this was something like Jaden Higgins walks in, transfers into Iowa State, and last year, all like 17 yards short of 1,000 yards. He likely gets 1,000 this year. Rocco Beck was a true freshman quarterback who is going to be even better this season after having a pretty darn good development year in his true freshman campaign. Jalen Noel at Iowa State, same kind of 820 yards last year. If he takes another step, both those guys, all Big 12 honorable mention. So they could both easily be all Big 12 team guys at the end of the season. They're both going to make noise in the Big 12 this year. Now, the tight end conversation, I go back to, if we're talking about one guy that I believe is head over heels better than everybody else, it's Brant Kuithe. I think he at Utah is going to be a game changer in the Big 12, and so good that he elevates the Utah offense where I'm like, yeah, you know what, as long as that guy's in the mix, I want that. I want like Ted McMillan at Arizona. As long as that guy's in the mix, their unit is high on my list. Benjamin Brahmer's not that. He's not Brant Kuithe. But he is a guy who caught 352 yards at tight end last year on 28 passes at 6'7", couple of touchdowns too. At 6'7", the ideal Iowa State tight end. Hey, first one in, last one to leave. Get the program guy. Those 3 combined at Iowa State with Rocco Beck, who is not the best quarterback in the Big 12. He's not a top 5 quarterback in a very good, deep quarterback conference, but he's good. And he gave the ball out to almost 1,000 yards to those 2 receivers. And for Brahmer, who was a freshman last year, could step into a larger role as well. I think if those 3 combined for 2,500 yards, I wouldn't be shocked at all.
Last one, quarterback. I said quarterback and wide receiver.
Yeah.
So, Drake, I'm going to let you go first. What's your pick here?
Because I think I know Noah Fafita's good. He might be a top 5 quarterback in the Big 12 this season. He was really good as a freshman last year at Arizona in a Pac-12 that is probably better. Last year was probably better than we usually give it credit for. The Pac-12 wasn't renowned the last 5 years in football, especially with USC sucking for a good portion of that. Last season, they were good. There were some solid teams. There was at least more parity. It kind of mirrored the Big 12 in that way. Like 8 teams were competitive.
It's good to go out on a high note.
Right. and they did. They're done. They don't exist anymore. Noah Fafita was one of the strongest quarterbacks in that conference. Now he moves to the Big 12. Electric arm, and he's got who I believe to be head over heels the best quarterback in the best wide receiver in the conference to pair with that quarterback in Noah Fafita in Tet McMillan. T-Mac will be a game-changing, eye-popping star in the Big 12. When you have a lineup like Shedeur Sanders, Heisman caliber, like the Big 12 does. Shedeur Sanders, Heisman caliber quarterback, to Ollie Gordon, Heisman caliber running back, to Tet McMillan, who is a wide receiver that could very well win the Blitnikoff this year. That is a stack. Like, there are some legit athletes in this league, and I believe that Tet McMillan is so much better than anybody else at wide receiver. And there are good ones. There are certainly good ones. And I'm not even, there are good athletes like a Travis Hunter who will play wide receiver this year in the Big 12. However, I think Tet McMillan is so good and so much better than anybody else that pair him with the dangerous arm of Noah Fafita. And that's my top duo in the Big 12. They come from Arizona, from the Pac-12 to this conference. It's Tet McMillan and Noah Fafita. Today's show is brought to you by a brand new Locked On sponsor, 5 Hour Energy, baby. Go to 5hourenergy.com. Use code LOCKEDONCFB to receive 20% off your order. 5 Hour Energy is where I like to sleep. Sometimes I like to sleep too much. So after lunch, I'm tackling a to-do list. Before a workout, get in shape, get motivated with 5 Hour Energy. Get that part of your lifestyle and take the energy boost with 5 Hour Energy to give you the feeling and the alertness that can get you to the gym, get you to the chores, get you watching sports, get you fired up. Zero sugar, portable size, convenient. 5 Hour Energy website has flavors like watermelon, tropical burst, grape, and more. On the site, you have the option to build your own 12-pack or 24-pack. You choose the flavors. It's delivered right to your door. Go to 5hourenergy.com. That is the number 5hourenergy.com. Get some 5 Hour Energy product today. Use promo code LOCKEDON and CFB to receive 20% off. Only valid through September 30th on one order. It cannot be used with other promotions. The code is not good on subscription orders. Go to 5hourenergy.com today.